Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it is time yet again for one of our weekly viewer specials. For those of you who are new to the channel or new to the series, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you here. Second of all, just letting you know what we do every week here on Monday is take a look at replays from all of you viewers. So if you're interested in getting your replay submitted for the viewer special, head on down to the description below. There's going to be an invite link to our Discord server, the Hexlex. Once you are in there, you will be able to, under the Master Duel section, see the viewer special submissions channel. There you can drop your 9-digit player ID so I can see your publicly saved replays. Please do make sure that these replays are set to public and that you're entering this number correctly so I'm able to view them. If there's one particular replay you really want me to see, then you can leave your opponent's name, the date and time, or a screenshot. Just something where I know that that is what you want me to see. But yeah, enough of the opening spiel. Why don't we go ahead and get into some of your replays. Okay, our first replay comes to us from Alnick, who is going to be on Rose Dragon. So if we take a look at the list here, we are going to be seeing a lot of the new support, including, of course, the new boss monster, Bramble Rose Dragon, the new continuous spell card, Black Rose Garden, and I believe Twilight Rose Black Knight, White Rose Dragon, and maybe Vengeful Witch are all new as well. The non-URs, I'm less familiar with what's part of this newest wave off the top of my head. But I definitely want to take a moment to shine the spotlight on a dedicated Rose Dragon list. This duel is going to be in the dual triangle specifically, and our opponent is going to be on Branded. So let's see how we fare here. Yeah, like I said, wanted to make sure we took a moment to look at Rose Dragon. I haven't yet run into this deck on Ranked Ladder, so I'm not really sure what our combo line is going to look like, but we'll see. Okay, we got a couple of the new cards here. We're going to lead with the Black Rose Garden. That way we can add Rox Rose Dragon. Upon normal summon Rox Rose, let us add the Vengeful Witch, and then we can use the Vengeful Witch effect in order to special summon, and then we can perform a Synchro Summon. It's going to be for level 7, and it'll be our new Bramble Rose Dragon. No animation, that's rough. Okay, Vengeful Rose is going to discard in order to special summon Twilight Rose Black Knight. We're then going to tribute Bramble Rose Dragon in order to summon out the Black Rose Dragon, which at least does have an animation there. Now we're going to Synchro Summon for level 10, and this is going to be the Baron de Fleur. Now, Bramble Rose Dragon can activate its effect, banishing in order to revive the Twilight Rose Black Knight, which can then revive the Vengeful Witch. At that point, we're going to decrease the level of the monster and sync for 6, which is going to let us summon the Rage Rose Witch. On Synchro Summon, that'll let us send the Garden Rose Maiden and Spore from our deck and extra deck to the graveyard. So now we can use Garden Rose Maiden to revive the Black Rose Dragon. And now Spore gets to activate. We're going to banish the Vengeful Witch in order to summon as a level 5. Now, 5 plus 7 is going to be able to make a level 12. And I think that's going to be, yep, the Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon gets to activate here. We're going to do both of the effects. We're going to not only summon out a level 10 dragon from our extra deck, but we can also then, of course, add a card that mentions Crimson Dragon. So there's Bestial Dissipator, and we're going to add the Synchro Rumble. Rumble effect is going to revive the Rox Rose, but our opponent's going to throw out a Bestial Saronir. We're going to use the Baron de Fleur in order to negate that, but it looks like they've got a Magnum Hut as well. So, we were so close to the full end board. We can at the very least destroy the Magnum Hut if we're not able to stop the banish here. Yeah, there goes Saronir. And Synchro Rumble no longer has a target. Saronir is going to activate, dumping the, what is this counter trap called? Retribution. Now we're going to triple attack, take a peek at their hand. It's Albaz, Blazing Cartesia, and Fusion Recycling Plant. Interesting tech there for the event. We're going to go ahead and get rid of their Albaz, because they don't have another monster to fuse with the Cartesia. And we can even revive the Vengeful Witch. Now passing back over to our opponent on, again, an almost full combo end board here. If not for those Bestial monsters. Okay, here's Cartesia, and they've got Shrouded Albion as well. Ooh, that's rough. That means they can dump the Branded Fusion and they can fuse here. They're going to try to fuse. We're going to use the Effect Veiler on the Cartesia, but our opponent still gets to use the Retribution in order to put the Branded Fusion back into their hand. So Albion was a insanely good top deck for our opponent. That might have been one of the best possible things they could have drawn, honestly. Okay, Albion's gonna draw and find Gold Sark this time. Gold Sark banishing the Despian Tragedy, which of course gets to activate, adding an Aliber from deck to hand. Here's Branded Fusion. They're gonna send away Albaz plus Mercurier, and that's going to make Rindbrum, the Striking Dragon. They're gonna move straight to battle phase, battling over our Red Rage Witch, as well as the Vengeful Witch. Vengeful Witch on destruction lets us discard in order to summon out the Lone Fire Blossom, giving us some follow-up. Here's Fusion Recycling Plant. And then during the end phase, they can add back the Mercurier. So they've got the Mercurier to negate, as well as the Rindbrum, which can also negate. Glow Bulb's going to get top decked here. We're going to go for Baron de Fleur effect, targeting the red, or was it the Rage Rose? Rage Rose, that's what it's called. They're going to negate with the Mercurier. But we can still activate the Bestial Dissipator. Our opponent's going to chain Blazing Cartesia in response. Looks like they're fusing with the Aliber they added. Is this going to be Granganol then? Looks like it is in fact Granganol the Dusk Dragon. Dissipator is going to revive Rox Rose, which on summon lets us search. Granganol is going to activate here. And looks like they're going to use both effects to summon and then also dump a card. We're going to use the Bestial Dissipator in order to negate that summon effect, however. Looks like they're going to chain Rindbrum in response to negate our Dissipator. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but at the same time, that's like a lot of our opponent's disruption out of the way here. They're going to summon Despian Coritis, and then Granganol is going to send Albion. We're adding another Black Rose Garden. Baron de Fleur gets to pop the Coritis, which is forced to use its effect now, instead of later as we go to end the main phase and enter battle phase. Now, Coritis gets to activate, but so does our Rage Rose Witch. Looks like Aliber is going to activate here. Negating the Baron de Fleur is pretty pointless, though, because it's already used both of its effects. Or all of its effects, really. Alright, here's the Aliber. Coritis is going to summon Quem. Rage Rose revives. Quem gets to activate now, dumping Ecclesia. And we can still normal summon, so there's that Lone Fire Blossom again for another Vengeful Witch. And then we're going to sink for 7. For Bramble Rose Dragon, yet again. Vengeful Witch gets to activate, discarding the Glow Bulb. Our opponent's going to chain Quem in order to revive. Looks like we're getting back the Ecclesia we just dumped. And of course, they are going to be subject to the Bramble Rose Tax Dragon effect. After that, we're going to use Bramble Rose in order to summon out the Black Rose Dragon, yet again. And looks like we are going to use Black Rose Dragon's effect to destroy the field. Our field protected by the Black Rose Garden, which also gets to burn our opponent. Now from here, finding lethal shouldn't hopefully be too difficult. We're going to summon Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And we have another Black Rose Garden to add the White Rose Dragon. Now we can use Bramble Rose in order to revive Twilight Rose Knight. And that's going to put more than enough damage on board to finish them off. Oh, they're going to try to use that Rindbrum effect during the battle phase. Very tricky, but we have the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon to negate that. Alright, I think that was a pretty good showcase of what the Rose Dragon deck is capable of. Spitting out not only its own boss monsters to board wipe and or tax them down, but also some good synchro negates with the Baron de Fleur, the Dissipator, and the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Thank you very much for that demonstration, Alnick. Of course, we still have a couple more games to look at. Let's go into the next one. Alright, next game is going to come to us from Bibi on Sawyer. Hopefully I didn't butcher the pronunciation of your username too badly there. We're going to be taking a look at a Kewl Tune mirror match, which I am definitely down to look at because I feel like I could always improve playing this deck. I feel like every single game I see a better line I could have done. So let's take a look here. Ooh, we're on the Super Poly build in particular. I am extra eager to see this game now because I haven't tried out Super Poly yet, but it is something I've considered, of course, considering how much room the extra deck has here. I'm also curious if Shooting Riser Dragon has come up for you, because I almost played this a couple of times, but I don't think I've actually included it just yet. And then for our opponent's build, they're on a fairly standard build here. A couple of interesting things like the Roland rather. That's not terrible. I don't love imperms in this deck. I think I'd rather have more like actual hand traps that are tuner monsters. And yeah, well, I don't think the triple attacks are bad. Again, I think this is kind of one of those decks where you need like a critical mass of monsters, tuners specifically, but not a bad build by any means. But yeah, I'm very eager to see if Super Poly comes up for us here, because Super Poly is pretty good against Kewl Tune in particular, especially once you have the Sea Monster of Theseus, right? We are taking the first turn. Hand looks pretty solid. We got Q, JJ, and Rekko. We're going to lead with the Q, normal summon. They're going to throw out the Foolos. That's right, you mentioned in your note on the Discord server that we're going to get hit with a lot of Foolos slash Max C this game. Okay, so we're going to special summon the Rekko from hand, looks like, and then use that in order to search before making Trackmaker with the Rotary. Chain blocking with the Q to make sure we don't get hit with the Ash Blossom. Let's take a look at the top cards of their deck. Ash Blossom and Ghost Spell. We're going to banish the Ash Blossom, put Ghost Spell on bottom. Sorry, that went by very quickly. I saw the Fooloses, but I didn't catch anything else. Sorry about that. But we're adding the Kewl Tune Synchro here. And then Trackmaker is going to add another Kewl Tune Synchro. So we're going to set the two of them and then pass. Okay, so sure enough, here is their Foolos. We're going to chain Kewl Tune Synchro. Here's their other Foolos. And we are going to chain the other Kewl Tune Synchro, making sure that we get at least one summon, well, ideally without them getting a draw, but it looks like they top decked that Maxi as well. We're going to respond with our own Maxi here. And now we are going to end up giving them, I think, 3 total draws. But of course, at the same time, we're not only setting up our own board state against them, but we are also going to get draws off our own Maxi, too. Here's Zaylin. There's one draw. Foolos resolves. We could only give them the 1 if we really wanted to. But at the same time, there is an argument to summoning back-to-back, but it looks like we're only going to give them that 1 draw. Going to banish their Rotary, leave the Ghost Spell on top. Here's Kewl Tune Mix. We're going to chain Clip, and then we can Zaylin to negate and destroy Mix. I really, really like that, because now they don't have the ability to Synchro Summon with a monster in their hand. They're going to have a way to extra normal summon. Now, the Maxi we know gave them Ghost Spell, but it looks like they've got Rotary and Clip to get that extra normal summon. They're going to normal summon the Rotary and then tune with the Ghost Spell they top decked, and that's going to let them make the Trackmaker. Of course, important to remember, they are under our Maxi as well, so we're going to get to draw off that. They're going to go Chain Link 1 Rotary, Chain Link 2 Trackmaker. Maker's going to add Q. And then Rotary's going to look at our hand and then add JJ Kewl Tune. So they're going to activate the Kewl Tune, the JJ Kewl Tune, tributing in order to special summon Rekko. Going for the Rekko search, we've got the Veiler. See, I don't really know why they added Q there. I guess they want an extra normal summon with the field spell? Yeah, that's what they're doing right now. But I feel like at this point, they're under the Maxi. Shouldn't we, like, if I'm our opponent, shouldn't I just cut my losses? I don't know. I guess it depends on what's in the rest of their hand. But I would have tried maybe searching for a Kewl Tune Synchro. Because, I don't know, trying to actually win the duel on this turn, even without the Maxi, is going to be a little bit rough. Yeah, it's just not going to happen here. So basically, our opponent just gave us a ton of draws for, in the grand scheme of things, pretty much no reason. Gonna draw for turn, finding a Rekko. Loving the position we're in right now. We've even got this called by in case they somehow have yet another hand trap. Oh, they've got Clip, and call by is not gonna be very useful against that, though. They're gonna Zaylin our Mix. But we have the JJ Kewl Tune, so we have plenty of follow-up here. Also, Zaylin, we don't have to worry about that anymore. And it looks like they're going to make a back-to-back with Rekko plus Zaylin. Now, of course, that's going to mess with our levels and, in turn, our ability to Synchro Summon. So we've got Mix and Rekko. Their last card did end up being out of their hand trap, the Effect Veiler, but thankfully we've got the called by for that. Okay, so now they're almost out of things to do. I say almost because they do still have back-to-back. But if we can just answer or push through this back-to-back, we should be good. Okay, there's the Rotary Search. We're going to activate Kewl Tune, tributing the Recco for a Rotary from deck. Now, Rotary in deck and Rotary in hand is going to let us tune for 4, because only one of them is level boosted, and that's going to let us make Track Maker. Now we can go Track Maker and Rotary. They're going to go back-to-back on their own Track Maker. And then they're going to tune for 6. It's going to be Loudness War. Yep, it's Loudness War. What else would it be? It's 6. Rotary's going to put their Track Maker back into their extra deck, so they don't get to do the bounce effect. Because they don't get to do the bounce effect off either Track Maker itself or Loudness War, because it's no longer in the graveyard when it resolves. Now we're going to make our own back-to-back, and then we can use Track Maker and chain block it with Mix. So they're going to use Mix as well to try to pop our back-to-back through the Loudness War, but that in turn lets us use our back-to-back effect, which in turn lets them use their back-to-back effect. And then we can use ours yet again, because it's twice per turn and it's not once per chain, which is honestly really insane. So at the end of all this, our opponent's going to have this Recco, but that's pretty much going to be it, whereas we're going to have whatever we Synchro Summon here plus Recco. And we are going to make our own Loudness War. So Mix pops their Loudness War, Track Maker bounces their back-to-back, their Recco gets to search for a Mix, but now their board state is looking a lot worse than ours, and in fact, because we have back-to-back, we can just OTK because our Loudness War is buffed as well. That was really good. Using Rotary plus Rotary to make Track Maker while the opponent has back-to-back up. Not to mention we won a game where our opponent resolved 3 Fuelos and Maxi. Actually just an insane mirror match. Thank you very much for that one there. We have time for one last game. Let's finish off with that one. And our final duel comes to us from CJ. CJ has a dual triangle game where they are going to be on... Is it this one? Yeah, I believe it's this one. Yep. They're going to be on RB, which we watched through Duel Lives relatively recently, and is a deck that I was definitely kind of sleeping on when it first came out. I think I mentioned the RB video, but I actually pulled and then dismantled some of my RB URs, and I actually somewhat regret it, because I would be kind of interested to try this deck out, and if I'd kept the 2 RB URs I pulled, I'd really only have to craft like 2, maybe 3 more URs to build the deck, but... I have a lot of decks like that right now where I just need a couple of URs to finish them. Anyway, for our opponent's deck, they are going to be on White Forest Centurion. Again, remember, this is the Dual Triangle event, so we're going to be on all Links, and they are on all Synchro Monsters. Let's see how this plays out. Was this a going second game? I think I saw we lost this coin flip. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be a going second game. So let's see what we're able to do here. We didn't open any hand traps, so whatever our opponent's able to do is going to be their full combo line. They're going to Primera for Phalanx. Phalanx is an interesting search, but they have the field spell already, so that makes sense. Placing Trudea in order to place Gargoyle to summon. Now they're going to sync for 12. Is it Auxilia? It's Primera. Oh yeah, Primera Primus. I always forget about this thing, because admittedly, I didn't play as much Centurion after Primera Primus came out. I was just occupied by other decks at that point. So I always forget about that. I always still try to do like the Wave 1 combo line. But yeah, now they can search Emblema Oath. That's going to place Atri. Atri gets to summon, and then sync. That's right, you don't use the draw effect right away, because we summon Atri again later. And then you use the draw, if I remember right. Okay, Auxilia gets to search up the Wake Up Centurion, which are then going to activate in order to summon a level 4 token. Now Phalanx gets to revive the Primera Primus. And then we're going to use Wake Up Centurion in order to send the... Was that Bonds? I believe that was Centurion Bonds from the deck to the graveyard. Here's another 12. It's Crimson Dragon. Yeah, it was Bonds. Okay. Crimson Dragon gets to activate both of its effects here, both to summon a 12 and then also search out. Here's Cosmic Blazar Dragon. And Crimson Dragon is going to find the Synchro Rumble. Now, Rumble effect gets to activate in order to revive the Atri, and then Atri gets to draw a card here. Now they're going to go Gargoyle 2 effect, send the Trudea in order to special summon, and that lets us make yet another level 12, which in our case is going to be the Legatia. Now Legatia gets to draw us another card. Bonds also gets to activate here, placing the Primera from our graveyard into the spell trap zone. Legatia draws, card gets set. Now both Legatia and Auxilia will put the Atri and the Gargoyle from the graveyard into the spell trap zone. Alright, we got quite a bit to play through here. Let's see how we can manage. We're going to start with the Hornet Drones, which makes sense. They're going to go for their Centurion effects here, Primera and Gargoyle 2. Looks like they're aiming to make a level 12. No, an 8, actually. Interesting. Okay, so Primera and the Field Spell are going to activate. Field Spell to Synchro, Primera to Search. They're going to sync for 8. Oh, which is going to be the Diabell. Very interesting. Okay. And then they're going to grab another Field Spell. Okay, Gargoyle 2 is going to add itself back to hand. And now they have the ability to, yeah, summon out the Silvera to turn everything face down. Very interesting. Okay, here's the Kagari. Kagari's going to activate, getting the Hornet Drones back, but nope. They're going to use Cosmic Blazar here, which is actually pretty fine, right? This is a pretty good spot for us, for them to use their Omni Negate. Now we're going to go Normal Summon Girsu. Oh, they've got the Monodium Reframing. Wow. The Omni Negate Counter Trap. But it doesn't destroy, it only negates. That is very much worth noting, because we can still use the Girsu second effect here to summon a token to each field, which of course is going to help us get materials in order to make some plays. Silvera turns Girsu face down, but we can still link away the World Legacy token for a Galatea Eye, the Orcus Automaton. Opponent's going to chain with Hop Ear Squadron. Now they can sync for 10. This is going to be Baron de Fleur. Sure enough it is. Yet another Omni for us to play through. I was really getting ahead of myself when I said, oh, Blazar, the only Omni's out of the way. And here's also Ghost Bell to negate the Galatea Eye, as well as the Atri in order to summon itself and then draw a card. O-Lion gets to activate here, summoning a token because it was discarded. Okay, and now we're going to link off the Galatea Eye plus our Mecha Phantom Beast token. And here is the RB Vulcan Booster. Vulcan Booster is going to activate, but there's an Ash Blossom! Yet another negate! We're pushing through so much here, and we're not done yet. We're going to activate RB Stage Landing. Our opponent's going to use their Baron de Fleur. And barring any more hand traps, they should be out of responses now. They've already used Ash Blossom, they've already used Ghost Bell. So unless it's like Valor or Maxi or Nibiru, there shouldn't be really much of anything. I guess it could be Droll, maybe? I don't know. Okay, Vulcan Booster, reviving the Vulcan Rocket. Now we're going to link the two of those into the Brute Blues. It's pretty brutal that our Girsu's in the middle zone turned face down here, but not the end of the world. Alright, here's RB Funk Dock. It's going to grab us into their Stage Landing. Stage Landing not once per turn, by the way. We're going to send out the GA-10 Pile Bunker, and that is going to let us blow up the field, as well as, of course, our Brute Blue is getting to attack twice by its own effect. And then there we go. The last bit done with the Pile... Is it Driver? I missed it. Even though I read it earlier. It's Pile Bunker, right? Yeah, Pile Bunker. Insane board wipe effect. So RB is not only capable of setting up some pretty solid turn 1 boards like we saw in our previous video, but now we see a very clean OTK line through like every Omni Negate and hand trap you could possibly think of. RB is a really solid deck. Definitely don't sleep on it. Thank you for showing us, CJ, and thank you, of course, to everybody else who submitted for the viewer special as well. Really, really appreciate all the submissions. Even if you didn't get featured, there's always the next week and every week after that. And we couldn't do this series without submissions. So again, even if you didn't get featured, I really do appreciate you reaching out with your replays. But that is going to go ahead and do it for now. And I'm about to sign out here. But before I do, let's move on to our outro and thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.